All right, guys, this is number 13 in our rankings. We're getting closer to the top 10. And in the 13th spot, we have the first official undisputed world champion, Wilhelm Steinitz, born in 1836 and dies in 1900. Peter, I struggle with Steinitz. How do you see him?
Yeah, me a bit too, in a way. But you're probably the one who convinced me that he should be not a bit higher on the list. But I get your points. But let's just run through his stats first, right? I mean, he is, as you say, 4 times he wins the official world championship. He wins in 86. I think he beats Sugartort in a match. Then in 89 and 1892, he beats Chigorin. And in between that, he beats Günzburg. So in a decently short amount of time, basically even quicker than modern times, he managed to win 4 world championships. Then later, he loses twice to Lasker. But also quite some years before that, actually 20 years before, he plays a match with Andersen in 1866, which he beats. And at that point, he's sort of considered to be the strongest player in the world. So you get this idea of Steinitz actually hanging out in the world top for more than 30 years. And of that, according to Sonas, 14 years and 4 months, he's number 1 on the rating list, and his peak rating is 1826 according to Sonas. So we are talking 4 to 5 world championship wins, 14 years plus as number 1, and a very high rating. So basically that should be much higher. So, well, over to you to talk him down a bit. Why is it only number 13?
No, I don't really want to talk him down. He's also unbeaten in match play for lengthy periods of times. As always, when we come into the 19th century, I'm not quite sure how to rate the guys. First of all, because of the level of the competition, but also because of the amount of activity. Like, I think he takes long breaks from chess, which is obviously fair enough in the periods, as does Lasker after him to some extent, but with Smyslov, I think it's more extreme. And then I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I generally agree with you that somehow it's impressive and the numbers are amazing, but the level of competition seems a bit thinner than some of the others we will discuss later, right? And also you say some kind of inactivity and such, and we're talking Sugartort, Günzburg, and Chigorin. It's not sort of absolute massive peak players on our list and such that he's defeating, right? So, I mean, top 13 is quite an achievement, but he could be higher by numbers, but we feel that the necessity is to put him a bit lower down because of some of the things we are mentioning, right?
Yeah, it's, as usual, not an exact science. I also rate, which I'm not sure if that's fair enough, that I don't think many of his principles held up, not just the test of time, but even at the time. I think, like, philosophically, Chigorin's ideas about the game were not inferior to Steinitz, who had some very stubborn principles, like the king can take care of himself, and the amount of suffering for a pawn he would do, even for my standards, seemed a bit outrageous at times. So his games, of course, through modern eyes, but also against his compatriots, even though he did have competitive success, I never felt were such a building block for others, while, to me, Lasker is just a giant jump in the chess level, who's his successor.
I agree with you, and that's also why we keep him at 13th place. Still, I mean, you can argue with the numbers and that what we do, but his numbers are impressive in many ways and such. Also,
but so are Philidors, for example, who we have much lower on the list.
Yeah. When he faces Lasker, I think he's in early 60s even or something like this, right? So
that's also the thing. His world championships come at an advanced age. No, he's born in 1836, and when does he win his first title? It's 86,
86, yes.
Which is usually
his best years might have been earlier in a way. And such. But we simply see him as great and the best player, but not dominant enough and not facing peak. I mean, well, either he should be completely dominant or else he should have faced incredibly strong opposition. And we somehow feels that he didn't. And while 14 years at the top, of course, insanely great, we still, we have to discount a bit. We simply think that there is 12 guys who deserve to be higher on him. And I think that sums it up.
Yeah. Other than that, what's there about Steinitz? He did a lot of writing at the time. He was arguing a lot, no, in these articles.
Yeah.
There were...
I think, like you, I'm influenced by also that his principles doesn't seem to sort of be spot on, to put it mildly, or something like that, right?
Yeah, maybe he got a bit caught up in this intellectual debate and he became very stubborn, trying to defend whatever principle he was defending against his opponents. Still, he could play. He understood, obviously, a lot of things that others did not understand about the game at that time. Some of his victories do look very clean and nice. Let's look at one of them against Michail Chigorin. This is a late encounter between the two in 1892. Steinitz with the white pieces. Plays the Rilopeth.
It's probably from the match, right? Yeah.
I would guess so. Havana, yeah.
Also, it's interesting that while we do call the Berlin defense something that happens in the year 2000, this actually happens here more than 100 years ago in a World Championship match. And while Kasparov would always castle and play the end game, Steinitz plays 4d3, which actually quite later is going to be, well, close to being the main line, right?
Yeah, this does not go well with me trashing him that he wasn't ahead of his times.
I think it was a bit random.
This is whatever. Carlsen versus Ali Reza in 2020, no?
Yeah.
Ali Reza Carlsen. Anyway, he goes knight b2, knight f1, which one also can't really fault. It's still used in many a position. I'm not sure if it's so common here. It's a typical maneuver. Castles, bishop a4. Guess trying to keep the bishop. No, you could see Magnus playing this with white in his next tournament and it wouldn't look strange, no?
Very happy if it did. Yeah, it looks cool.
Sounder than his usual stuff. Knight to e3. Knight c5, bishop c2. Knight e6. Yeah, I'm not sure what Chigorin is up to here. And h4 is saying, okay, you want to spend 3 moves putting a knight from f6
to so e6. You are dissing him for not being modern. So till now he's played the d3 Spanish, and now he's playing Alpha Zero style with h4, right? Yeah.
I'm saying his good games look very, very good. We chose a good game. We're not trying to choose people's worst games where he has his king on f8 and his knight on h6.
I'm not sure that this is the Alpha Zero h pawn, to be honest. But, yeah.
But yeah, in this game, he just looks far superior to Chigorin.
Mm-hmm.
Pawn to d5, which I guess, in a way, is classical thinking. You want to counter in the center to this h-pawn attack, but it's a case of too little, too late.
Yeah. But still, the game gives this impression of making things a bit too easy for white, right?
Yeah. But also these games, they just swing so widely. Now you could see the same with colors reversed, and from the next generation, whatever. If we look at this, Över Yechin, you can see it's just two top players fighting. Yeah? Like, here, Chigorin gets just crushed here after fg. His king is unsafe. This diagonal is open, and
you don't need to calculate here. It's up. That white is just doing great, right? So.
Well, he does later. Queen f1.
Nothing wrong with calculating.
And d4. But yeah, obviously white is in good shape. Bishop takes d4. I guess knight d4. There's some rook h7 coming. Which
rook h7 is made in a very limited amount of time. Yeah.
Exactly. The bishop d4, you're probably not thrilled to do in the first place. Rook d4, not much of a sacrifice. Hard to take that. But Chigorin does, and Steinitz does not just recapture, but delivers this combination now, which is nicely calculated. Queen h1, king g7, bishop h6. If the king goes here, that will be mate, and if it goes forward, queen h4 check is a bit of an issue. g5, queen g5 is mate, as is king e5, queen d4.
And he resigns? Oh, yeah.
Well, it's checkmate. Oh, no, it's not checkmate.
F5 is legal.
G4 is...
Yeah. But okay. No, I mean, this is a World Championship match, right? I mean, sort of, yeah. It's pretty
Of course,
one-sided.
you can't blame people for the times they are dominating, but I do think it's fair if we're doing this cross-era comparison to take opposition and frequency there to play these people into account.
I agree. That's why I mean, it's a bit rough on him being 13, but I think it's how it should be, right? That's the choice we've made, at least. But I mean, if you just look at pure stats, you could put him considerably higher. But well, if we only did stats, there was nothing to. We could just put a robot instead of one of us. Yeah. So
As close as it gets. Anyway, thanks for watching.